Hello again, my artist friends. Welcome to another episode of Brushstrokes with Mrs. Broderick. Today we're going to be creating a piece of art that has lots of colors and lots of shapes in it. We're going to be inspired by the work of Paul Klee, who is a painter. And before we get started, I want to show you a couple images of his work to help inspire you. All right, let's take a look at one of his paintings in this giant book called 30,000 Years of Art. So if you take a look here, this is one of his paintings, okay? And you can see that he's using lots of different rectangles and squares to create the illusion of a highway or different roads. This painting is called High Road and By Roads, and it was painted in 1929. All right, let's take another look at one of his paintings out of this book called The Art Book. Okay, you'll see in here, this is one of his portraits. So you can tell that it looks like a face. It's got a head and a neck and shoulders and eyes, but it's not super realistic, right? This painting is called Senecio, and it was painted in 1922. So Paul Klee is very good at using lots of colors and shapes and creating texture with his paints to create something that's familiar, but painting it in an unfamiliar way. So keep that in mind when we start working on our painting today. So today we're going to create a cityscape that's inspired by the style of Paul Klee. Okay, remember for this project you're going to need watercolors, a paper towel, a glass of water with some paintbrushes, and some crayons. Let's get started and make some art together. So what you're going to start with is a black crayon, and we're going to start to build the base of your cityscape. So I'm going to start with a rectangle or a large square, and then I'm going to make some taller ones. And remember, you don't have to start just like mine starts. You can start it in a totally different way if you want. But mostly what I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using squares and triangles and crayons and maybe some half circles. Okay, so take your time. Remember, we are going to be using watercolors again. So you want to push down pretty hard with your black crayon so that you get a nice rich color. And then I'm going to give this one a little dome for a roof. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in and I'm going to do a little window here. And maybe I'll split this up into some triangles. Then I'm going to do some little rectangles here. Okay. And then maybe I'll do a large triangular roof. And I'm going to do roofs on each of these using triangles. So you can build this up however you want. Your paper could be vertical like mine. You could have it be horizontal if you wanted to. You could make it a really large cityscape. You could make it smaller. And just like with the project from last week, you don't have to do this just one time. You could experiment and play around with it a couple of times to see how it comes out. Let's give this one a crazy roof here, like that. Maybe just a small building here. Oops, almost broke my crayon. And that's okay. All right. So I like the way that my cityscape has come together. I have different size squares. I've got triangles in here. I've got little windows. I like how it's going. So when I'm done with this, I'm going to put my black crayon away. And then I'm going to start to fill in each of these outline spaces with a different color. So maybe I start with red. And see how hard I'm pushing down? I'm pushing down hard enough so I don't see a lot of that white space underneath. It's okay if there's a little bit, but I want you to try to really work on coloring hard so you don't see any of that white. And that will make the next step when we go in with our watercolor a little bit easier for you. So I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna use my red crayon a bunch of times. So maybe I wanna color this roof red. Maybe I wanna do this part of the building red. I wanna do all these little roofs red. Really taking my time, coloring slowly, doing my best work. Maybe I want the window to be red. And then maybe this little rectangle right here. Okay. Then I want to switch to a different color. I think I'm going to grab blue. So maybe I'll start with some blue over here. And maybe I'll do these blue. So you can see in the style of Paul Klee, right? We're using lots of different shapes to give the impression of a city. But this is not a city you would usually see, right? It's a little kooky, it's a little crazy, and that's why it looks so cool. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna use as many different colors as you can to fill in your buildings, okay? What I would suggest is if you wanted, I wouldn't do blue here and then blue here. Try to make it so that each color that's next to one another is different, okay? Let's check in with Mimi, the artiste, to see how her drawing is coming along. Mimi, that's a great start to your Paul Klee painting. Okay, so I have finished coloring my cityscape in with crayons. So the next step is we're gonna be using watercolors. But before we get started, I want you to just take a look at all the different colors that I have on my page. I've pushed down really hard with my crayon so that the colors are very bright and bold so that they pop off the page. And each shape is filled with a different color so that it really outlines all of the shapes that you've used, okay? What we're gonna do next is we're going to use the watercolors to paint your background. So you remember from our project last week, our warm and cool painting, right? When we used the crayon and the watercolor kind of went right over the crayon because of the wax. So watch what I do here. I'm going to use kind of a purpley color, and I'm going to start by using a lot of water to make it really light. Okay, I want it to maybe look like it's the evening time. So I'm going to start, and I'm just going to paint around. But one thing you could do is you could actually paint over the crayon, and you'll see that it kind of just disappears over the top of it, right? So where there is white space underneath, it will be filled in with the watercolor that you choose. Now I'm going to pick just one color because I want my buildings to really stand out. If you feel like you want to use multiple colors and make it a little crazy, you can do that. But you don't want it to be too distracting, right? You really want your cityscape to be the main focus. And if you don't feel like you want to go over the buildings, if you don't like that effect you're getting, you can just very carefully paint around it. like I'm doing over here. Okay. You could make it so that your painting starts dark here by using less water and gets lighter as it goes up by using more water. It's up to you, right? You are the artist, so you are in charge of what this painting is going to look like. So I'm gonna go back. I'm just gonna do maybe another layer because I want it to be a little bit darker. You could also go back in with different colors while your paint is still wet and add little drops of color. Maybe you want to add little drops of blue to make it look like a beautiful midnight sky, or maybe you want to do drops of red just to add some different colors in there. I'm sure no matter what you choose to do, it's going to be beautiful. All right, so that is my beautiful Paul Klee cityscape. Let's take a look at my assistant's final painting. That's a beautiful finished painting. I love your color choice. All right, friends, I hope you enjoyed that project today. I can't wait to see your finished pieces. I know they're all gonna look beautiful. Next time, what you're gonna need to bring are watercolors, paintbrushes, paper, a black Sharpie if you have one, or a black crayon, okay? I will see you next time.